Hi everyone, this is Rajvinder here, the marketing lead from Ingram Micro, and we have today Akhil Sarastra with us from the pre-sales team, and he's a technical consultant for Ingram Micro, and he will run the session today for us for Acronis Backup Cloud. So I'll hand over the ball to Akhil, and he will guide us through the session. And just a quick update, we have the deck uploaded under the handout section, so you can download the deck while the webinar is running.
Thanks, Rajvinder. Good evening, all. My name is Akhil. First of all, thanks everyone for joining this session. Today we are discussing about Acronis backup solution to the cloud with Azure storage. So I'll start here, and let's see if you have any question in between. You can raise the hand, or you can put your questions into the question tab. All right, so today's agenda is that we'll discuss about Acronis corporate overview. I'll explain about the company. Then we'll discuss about the challenges of a data protection, which is faced by every IT administrator. Then we'll discuss about the Acronis backup solution and benefits for both, for the service provider as well as for the end customer. Then we'll discuss about the pricing, and demo we'll have. And then if you have a question, you can anyways ask the question in between. So let's discuss about the company. So Acronis is a worldwide company, which is now the headquarters is located in Singapore. Now, if you talk about cloud storage, we are handling around 5,000 petabyte of data under Acronis protection, which means is this 5,000 petabyte of data is storing on the Acronis cloud. It means that so many customers are believing in us by providing the data to keep it on the cloud. If you talk about business consumer, you can see the number here. We have 1 million business customer, we have consumer customers, and then we have OEM as well. If you talk about region-wise, Europe, we are 40% and above. America, we are 40% and above, and APJ, we are 20%. We have recently started here with the entire Acronis team, and we are keeping growing here. If you talk about Acronis business, best businesses, talk about the clients. Here's the list. You can see the list on your screen, which shows the client depending on the company: manufacturing, public sector, retail, finance, technology, healthcare. So everywhere, most of our Acronis applications are located. Okay, now talk about Acronis AnyData engine, why we are famous and what we have done so far. So famous technologies we have is full image backup of running system. So we are the only, Acronis is the creator of image level backup. If you have heard about Acronis True Image, just give me a minute, I guess we have, okay. Acronis is the creator of full image backup, which means is we created the technology which allow you to perform the backup of entire machine as a one backup. Then we have universal restore, which will allow you to restore the data to a dissimilar hardware or hypervisor. So we are in the age where we're not sure which hardware we are going to use. Maybe today we are using Dell, and maybe after a couple of years we move to HP or Lenovo or maybe any other hardware. Our data is important. We should be able to recover that data which we have backed up with any hardware to a dissimilar hardware. That technology we have with servers or with hypervisor. So if you are using an ESXi or Hyper-V host or any hypervisor, we are able to recover that to a dissimilar hardware. Then we have active restore. It's a wonderful technology. What active restore does is that it allows you to recover the machine, the application, while recovering the entire machine, the application which is more relevant for the users. For an example, if you have a SQL server running and it crashed, while recovering, it will recover the binaries and the SQL database first, and then it will recover the secondary thing which are not required for the production. So the user can connect to the database and start working. Then we have world-class support for Windows, Linux, and Mac. and then we support Android and Mac PCs and tablets. Now, recent innovations we have done is the differential and reverse incremental, which is recovering the data through the incremental backups instead of recovering the entire set full and incremental, which is VM flash backup. Compression and optimized deduplication. Compression with the file, we can go up to 90%. If it's a database or minimum, we can go to 60%. But if the file which is already compressed, it's hard to compress those files again, but the maximum is 90%. Optimized deduplication, why it's optimized? Because we support two kinds of deduplication. One is client-side deduplication and second is server-side deduplication. Those who does not know what is deduplication, deduplication is a backup technology which backups the unique data only. So you don't have the repetitive data on the storage, and it reduces the storage cost and capacity. So with optimized deduplication, the data which is coming from client to server, it already been deduped, and when the data is stored on the disk, it again deduped. So you don't need another third-party application like a data domain or any third-party dedupe devices to perform the deduplication, because it's inbuilt from two sides. Then we are integrated with cloud storage. We have our own cloud. We can back up to Azure, which we are discussing here today, and we can back up to Amazon Cloud as well. We have flexible policies, management, static dynamic grouping, which is easy to manage. You can configure the dynamic groups according to the environment, department, and sites as well. Expandable backup scheme we have. Then we have secure socket layer and external crypto, which is also supported with it. Now, if you talk about technology and who the team behind who's doing all the development, we have Acronis Lab, which is situated in the headquarters. Then we have 300 plus engineers continuously working on the innovations. We have 20 plus PhDs, 100 plus patents in the market, and 1.5 million of lines code on which the Acronis application is situated. Now, we'll talk about this, the issues which IT admin face every day. So every day, you know that now we have an option of bring our on-premises. You have mobile devices, which is bring your own devices. Then you have workstation, laptops, physical servers, virtual machines. Then, if you talk about application, you have Active Directory. You have Active Directory. Then you have file servers. Then you have Exchange server, databases, SharePoint. On top of on-premises, you have cloud as well. On the cloud, you want to back up your devices to the cloud. Then you have Office 365. Now you can have virtual machine on Azure as well. You have databases on the cloud as well. Now, everything you want to back up. For an IT admin, the requirement is that he wants to back up everything. Now, the solution is Acronis Backup Cloud and Acronis Disaster Recovery, which can be provided. So, how the backup and its architecture. Acronis Backup Cloud is a backup disaster recovery solution designed for service provider and allows secure, scalable, and affordable offsite backup of your environment. What it does your disk partition backup, your files and folders backup, virtual machines backup, applications backup. How it does, you have a multi-tier, multi-tenant architecture. It's a web-based user interface. Individual and centralized backup plans is given. Retention and cleanup rules can be defined. Backup encryption, which is AES 256. Then you have file recovery via web consoles, so the end user can recover their files if they require, and you can recover the entire machine through the recovery bootable media, which is a universal restore, which we discussed before. And where you can back up to Acronis Cloud, you can back up to service provider cloud, you can back up to third-party cloud like Azure, Amazon, and you can back up to local disk. How the solution works. If you talk about the architecture, so you have Acronis Management Console. install on the Acronis server. This is the web console. The application is on the Acronis Cloud. Then you have distributor, which is Ingram Micro, and then you are there as a partner or a service provider, and then you have your end customer. There they have their physical servers, virtual machines, workstation. Now they want to back up their data to the cloud. Guys, I'm audible? Am I audible?
Guys, can you hear us?
Better now? Thanks. All right, so now your end customer wants to back up their data locally as well as on the cloud. The ideal backup ideology is that you should have at least 3 copies for a backup. One is on local side on the disk, then you have a tape drive backup for a longer period of time, and then you have cloud. But now tape drive is costly and it's different, and that the tape backup does not provide the feature which a disk backup can provide, and it does not support deduplication as well. So tape is out of picture now. Now at least you need to have 2 copies. One is in your side and one is off side for a longer period of time. So this solution provides you the capability of keeping a data on your local storage as well as on the cloud, which is off side. And whenever you want to recover, you can always recover that data. Now with this solution, your Acronis backup service offers unlimited and free local backup. So a customer can perform unlimited backup locally free. All right, this is if you talk more deep technically into this, this is how the solution works. So you have web browser. If you look at on the left-hand side, you have Acronis hosted server where you have the application running through the web browser. Then you have MSP1, MSP2, which is service provider 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Everyone is using their own end customer and storage. So if you talk about MSP1, he's using local storage gateway. So he's storing the data on his local storage as well as he has a SAN as well. He's backing up the data to that. Now MSP2 is using Acronis storage to perform the backup. MSP3 is backing up the data to Amazon. MSP4 is backing up the data to Azure, and then again you can see that MSP5 is using IBM. So how it works is that you install the backup agent on the end customer workstation and perform the backup to the destination. So being a service provider, you have the option where you want your end customer data to be backed up or to be stored. If you have your own storage, you can back up to that. If an end customer says, I do not want to back up the data to cloud as of now, but I can back up locally, you can always provide that solution to him. Or you can move to the Azure storage. Why Azure storage? We'll discuss about that later on. So moving forward, we'll discuss about the feature for the service provider as well as to the end user for both, which will help you to pitch the solution to the end customer. Okay, now let's discuss about for partners and for the end user. Let's discuss about 5 points. So for end customers, for the service provider, you have automatic update, reduce administration, and keep agent current. So first thing, as the application is running on the Acronis cloud, Acronis will take care of the agent updates and everything. So you don't have to do anything. The Acronis application server management will take care of entire upgrade process. You can select if you want to increase the cloud solution you can always disable the local storage option. So as a service provider, you have the option whether you want to allow your end customer to back up the data locally or not. If you do not want your end customer to back up the data locally, you can just switch off that option and the end customer will never know whether he can back up the data locally. So this will help you to increase the backing up the data to the cloud. You can always white label your entire solution. You can put your company name and sell it to the end customer. Now we have a better reporting. You can drill down and granular generate the report for the end customer, and the usability and the readability. Both is there, so you can get detailed information about what customer is how much data is backing up and what should be the charges for that. It simplifies management, improves IT productivity. So the solution is pretty simple for the service provider. You just need to install the agent. There's no management or intense IT installation or configuration is required in this. For end customer can back up his mobile devices whenever and wherever he wanted. So there's an app, you can back up the mobile devices, you can back up Office 365, you can back up Office 365 to on-premises as well. You can perform bare metal recovery of any server, even VMware, ESXi, and Hyper-V, which we discussed before. When optimized, VM replication provide easy testing, failover, and fallback. What it does is that it allows you to have a second copy of your production server on a different location if it's their kind of disaster recovery site over the WAN. So you can incrementally back up the data from one site to another site. In case one site goes down, you have another site running up and running instantly. You can always test this. You can always fail over and fail back in the live production environment as well. VM Flashback for VMware and Hyper-V for both for disaster recovery, which is an incremental restore, which only restore the changes. Let's discuss more about the features for the service provider. As we discussed, service provider can always disable the local backup. He can and make sure that the customer sends the data to the cloud and scale monthly recurring revenues. He can always charge for monthly basis and increase the cloud utilization. You can do that for the specifically if you want to move the data to the cloud. Keep backup agent fresh with automated updates. As we discussed before, that as all the application is on the Acronis cloud, the Acronis management will take care of all the updates, so you don't have to do that. And while updating the agent, it does not require a reboot. So you can always inform your end customer that there's no reboot required for the update process as well. Improve control and readability with the enhanced usage report. Now, the reports are more detailed. It gives you, first of all, it's very easy to read. It gives you more detail. You can generate the report by monthly, weekly, or daily usage. You can do that, or you can do a report with the entire end customer detail. If you talk about better managed revenue opportunity with additional quota, you can always define the quotas as well. Differentiate Windows Server from Windows Server Essential, which is SBS server for tiered pricing, because SBS server will have the applications running on that. Set control on number of protected virtual machine hosts and mobile devices. You can always define the number of servers for the end customer. For an example, if an end customer says he has 10 machines, from your console you can define 10 servers for that specific customer. And if he comes back and says that I have 2 more, you can always charge for the additional 2, because initially he has mentioned that he has 10 servers. So all these control is given to the service provider, which the end use customer will never know about it. More feature for the service provider. They can always, now we have a customized end user license agreement, which they can always sign with the reseller and with the end customer. Confirm term acceptance for first login. So whenever an end user will onboard on the cloud on this solution, as soon as he will log in, he will get the acceptation for the end user agreement, and without agreeing to that, he will not be able to use the solution. You can always white label this, and you can always tailor the assistant for specific customers. So if a specific customer requires specific solution, you can always provide that. Just give me a minute. I guess there is a question. Okay, I'm sorry, there are 3 questions. What do you mean by free local unlimited backup? Okay, so first question is, what do you mean by free local unlimited backup? It means is that whatever the solution is for the capacity, we can say a storage capacity on the cloud. All right, so if a customer is going for a cloud solution, he will have to, we will discuss about the pricing. I'm just giving an example here. If a customer wants to go for a cloud solution, he'll have to pay for the $250 for Acronis solution, in which he will get 4 terabyte of cloud storage. In that 4 terabyte of cloud storage, which is on the cloud, he can use a cloud. He can use up to 4 terabyte of cloud storage. However, he can always perform an unlimited backup locally. So he can back up 10 terabyte of data locally as well. So there's no charges for the local backup from Acronis, but as a service provider, you have the capability if you want to charge him. This means that the second question is, this means that you should back up data on Acronis data center first? No, we do not back up the data, the solution to the Acronis data center. Acronis will only provide the backup solution, the management console from the Acronis data center. The solution, the backup will directly go to the Azure storage. Then to any other, okay, then to any other cloud data. Okay, so we have already answered this question. The data will directly go to the cloud storage. It will not go anywhere else. What the cost of Acronis on the cloud with Azure or AWS? Okay, so the minimum cost is $250, which is the minimum commitment for Acronis solution, in which you get 4 terabyte of cloud storage. We'll discuss about the pricing by the end of this presentation. Do we have any other question? Where is the 4 terabyte storage is located? Okay, that can be located on Azure cloud or Amazon storage. But this solution is this solution which we are discussing about. We are focusing on Azure. Okay, coming back to the presentation. Sorry. Okay. Let's talk about the features for the end customer, which will help you to sell it to the end customer. Now your end customer can back up their iPhone, iPad, Android data and perform the cross-platform recovery. So when you're going to and meeting end customer, you can always say that, because see, in a company, the top management has as important devices they're using, and they always want to protect their devices. You can always sell this with this point that they can back up their phones and keep it, and then it's always cross-platform restore. When you say cross-platform restore, it means is that you can restore your iPhone contact, messages, calendar items to an Android phone, and vice versa. You can do that. Speedy recovery for virtual machines. Now you can perform a VM flash backup for VMware and Hyper-V. That is one of the options. Second option is run from the backup, which I'll explain about that as well. So with speedy recovery, or we can say a VM flash backup, what it does, it performs a recovery from the incremental backup set. So the ideology is to perform full backup and then weekly full backup and then daily incremental backup. So with this solution, you can recover the data with the incremental set only. You don't need to perform full and incremental recovery. It will roll back with the help of change block tracking and recover the machine up to the previous state, which is the fastest recovery. You can always test the end customer can always test their replicas. Now this solution also provides, as we discussed before, this solution always provides a replication of virtual machine from one site to another site. So a customer can always test their replication and test their disaster recovery, whether that is working fine or not. If we talk about pre-seed VM replicas to save time, we can always, pre-seed is we can say initial seeding. A customer can always, if he has large amount of data, he can always perform the backup locally on a disk and ship that disk to the cloud storage to you as well as a service provider, and then you can ship that to Azure and make sure that data is stored there, and then from next time onward it will always be incremental backup. For the cloud, it's always incremental backup. The first backup is full, and then it's always incremental backup. So the first backup can be performed by the initial seeding, and then once the backup is stored on the cloud, then you can perform the incremental backup, which does not take much time. Let me just see, I guess there's one more question. Okay, there are a couple of questions. So the question is, so we can go with minimum commitment as a service provider and go to market with unlimited local backup regardless if we use the cloud storage, use our customer or not. You can do that, but it's not a beneficial solution. The reason is we should have, as I mentioned initially, that you should have two copies, one locally and second on offsite. So this solution will give you the option to have another copy on the cloud. So in case if something goes wrong on the entire site, you can always recover the data from the cloud. That's why. So yes, you can do that. To answer your question, you can do that, but that's not the best solution for the end customer. Is there any additional payment? Another question, is there any additional payment involved as we use storage space from Azure or AWS? Also, is Acronis offering the service through their data center? Yes, Acronis has its own data center and a storage as well. However, we are discussing here with the Azure because we have a customized solution for the service provider, which the sales team will explain better about it. Second question, and one more question is that if it's a large chunk of data like 2 TB or more, who ships the data to Azure? Does Acronis have a tie-up with Azure? So if the data is going to the Azure storage, as a service provider, see, the solution is for you. So you as a company go to the end customer and ask the end customer to perform the backup to the cloud. So this solution, as you can white label it, you can put your company name. So you're the owner of the company. So if you go to the end customer and ask for the backup solution and suggest the backup solution, if the customer has more data like a 2 terabyte, he can always send the data to you, and then you can send the data to Azure storage, and they will add the data to the cloud storage which you have taken. Next time onward, it will be incremental backup. So yes, you can do that. You need to do that, as you'll be the owner of the solution. Is there a feature to control? There's another question. Is there a feature to control local backup capacity by GB, not device count? What that be introduced, like having visibility of the data size, not device count? Okay. So the question is there a feature to control local backup capacity by GB, not device count? If not, will that be introduced, like having visibility of the data size, not device count? Okay. So as of now, no. You can either you can allow your end customer to back up the data locally or not. That option is there. You can always define the devices, because you want to build the relation with the end customer as well. All right. So if a customer says business is completely on the relation, so you're building a relation with the end customer. So you give the option. For an example, you can always give him 10 physical server, and you can additionally give him 1 or 2 server. The data is anyways going to the cloud. You can always monitor that, what he's doing, what is how many machines he's backing up, and then you have a detailed report as well, how much data is backing up. But to answer your question, the GB option is not there, but yes, it's coming. In future release, it will be there. And then one more question: is there a limitation on the number of VMs physical machine can be backed up? No, there's no limitation of that. Unlimited machines, unlimited VMs can be backed up. The solution is entirely on the storage. All right. So let's get back to the presentation. Okay. More feature for the end customer. They can always perform granular recovery of the databases, mailbox, and mail items. They can do. They can protect their Office 365 emails as well. So now people are moving to Office 365. They can back up their mailboxes locally in their office, as well as they can back up to the cloud. You can always go for point-in-time archive for the mobile data, mail data, I'm sorry, recover individual object from entire mailbox with ease. So you can provide a solution, and the same solution which you granular recovery, which you provide in-house, same solution can be provided on Office 365 as well. We have a SharePoint Explorer, which is a tool which provide you to recover individual sites, document, attachment, or entire site for SharePoint. Realize support for modern platforms. So now we support Windows Server 2016, protect Hyper-V guest machine running on Windows 10, Windows 16. Now we also support resell and change tracking, which is a fancy word, you can say, for change block tracking. Protect virtual machine running in the Microsoft Azure and Amazon EC2 cloud infrastructure. So now people have servers running on Microsoft Azure. Now that's why we are focusing on this Azure solution, because customers are already moving and running their servers, desktops, PCs onto Azure. So why to bring that data from one storage to another cloud? Instead of this, we can store that data directly. That's why we are focusing on Azure storage with this solution, so they can put the data onto the Azure data center. You see, it's clicking. Okay. Okay, there's one more question. Are there any requirement commercially for use to sign up for this program other than choosing a commitment? No, the solution is based on commitment. However, our sales team will describe about this after the presentation. They will explain more in detail how you can onboard and what are the various methods you can use to opt this solution.
Hi everyone. We'll just quickly run certain poll questions during the session, so we can have an overview of our audience. So here goes the first question. What applications do you use in your office? All right, we have 67% saying SharePoint. We have options for Exchange and Active Directory. Great. So I'll be sharing the results of the poll. Here goes. All right. We have the second poll coming up saying, what kind of solution do you sell? All right, we have polls coming in for servers, for software, storage as well. All right, great. And here goes the result of this poll. Great. I'll hand over the ball again to Akhil, and he can start addressing your questions and go through the session.
Thanks. I'm sorry. This question, would you please show a demo on the solution and how we can implement, test it over Azure? Yes, absolutely. This solution is to explain and make everyone aware about the solution. The next session which we are going to have, in which it will be completely a demo session where we'll show how you can configure the backups to a destination to Azure storage. We will show the entire demo on that. All right, so a few more features for end users. End user can always recover their individual files. They can search critical data using the wildcard. They can do that. Then, if you want, you can always improve security option, restricted network-based login. You can always provide the network-based login, so only specific IP addresses, laptops, and servers can log into the console. And so the end customer cannot log into the console from any IP address. User interface, you can always save time with the backup agent download improvement. You can download the entire agent, and if you have multiple server, you can download and install it from there. If you talk about simplify recovery with file restore to VM, restore files and folder directly to a VM with NTFS permission, and so we provide the ACL preserve. All the write permission, you can say all the write permission is stored with the NTFS file permission. Eliminate extra recovery step. We can directly restore single files and folder from VM backup. So for to explain further, for Hyper-V and VMware, we back up agentless backup. It means that you don't need to install agent on the virtual machine. You just need to install the agent on the ESXi and Hyper-V host, and it will take care of all your virtual machines with the application aware backup. Now, you can also track your byte process sent for each backup. So an end customer can track how much data he has sent. For an example, a customer says that opt for 1 terabyte storage. He should know how much data he has sent to the cloud. So with this, now on the console, he can monitor and track how much data he has sent to the cloud, which give you a transparency between you and a customer, that he knows how much data he has sent and how much he has to pay for it to you. Improve protection with agentless backup for LVM based. So if the customer is using Linux LVMs, logical volume manager, kind of RAID for Linux, you can back up those as well. It knows how to back up those, and improve coverage for Linux VMs. So we back up Linux VMs as well. Sorry, there's, I guess, questions. Okay, so the question is how backup over cloud will be affected by internet speed, and how we can measure time to backup and restore. All right, so now we need, there's no specific requirement for the bandwidth. that you need to have this much bandwidth, but we need to have a stable connection that is there. How much time it will require to backup and restore, that depends on the kind of data you're recovering. If you're recovering only files and folder, you can download it as a zip. It won't take much time. If you're trying to recover the entire server, yes, it will take some time because the data is, you're recovering an entire server. So recovering time completely depends on the kind of data and the amount of data you're trying to backup or recover. For Acronis DR, there's another question for Acronis DR. What is RTO and RTO and get a full application failover? All right. For the disaster recovery, okay, please give an example amount of one. I'm sorry, the question added. Please give an example of amount of data is 1 terabyte. In order to back up 1 terabyte, in order to calculate, that depends. There are a lot of factors depending on the performance of a backup restore. But yes, Acronis has a tool through which you can always test the speed, the network speed, and the destination speed, and then accordingly, I can provide you that information. All right, but to answer your question again, a lot of factor depends when you talk about performance, how much time it takes to back up or restore. It's internet speed, the kind of data you're backing up, a lot of things come into the picture. Consider a scenario of, okay, so added a question, consider a scenario of 2 offices can be download backup image of server PC of A and keep it on branch B head office through this platform. Okay, I'm sorry, the question is consider scenario of 2 offices. Can we download backup images of server PC from office A branch and keep it on office B head office through this platform? You can recover, yes. If it's the same office, yes, you can recover from branch A to branch B. Yes, you can do that, and you can always replicate the data from your branch office to the head office. You can do that. All right. Now for partners, few more features we'll discuss. Okay. Now, end customer can back up their mobile apps for smartphone and tablets. What you can back up from phones, contact, photos, videos, calendar, reminder from both, and then you can cross-platform restore from Apple to Android and Android to iPhone. Your backup, you can do that. It's pretty simple. Log in to the application, select the item you want to backup, see the backup progress, and always set the quotas as well. Mobile devices and backup console. This is how the mobile devices will look like. This console, if you have not seen, this is the new console. It's pretty simple. There's no training required for this, and you can use it instantly. You can see on both the screen, you can see that the iPad and iPhone, you see and track the backup has been run, failed, and what is the status of the backup. You can always see that. You have tile view and grid view. Platform and OS support. We support Windows Server 16, Technical Preview 4, Hyper-V, Windows 10, Windows Server 16 with vSphere change tracking supported for the VMs. Backup of Azure VM with agent, backup of Amazon VM with agent. So if you have a server running on the Azure cloud or Amazon cloud with the agent, you can always perform the backup of those. New type of quotas. So this is how you can set the quotas. You can always define, if end customers, by default it's unlimited, you can allow your end customer to perform unlimited machines, VMs and backup, but you can always set this number of physical server, number of physical workstation. If you have SDS server, then Windows Server Essential, virtual host, virtual machines you can set, mobile devices you can set, and storage quota. You can always define the storage quota as well. And backup location, local backup or cloud. You can define that for the end customer. This is for the service provider. What else? Whatever features we are discussing about, they're for the service provider. Now here you can define where they want to back up. If you want your end customer to back up the data to the cloud only, you can go for cloud only solution, or you can always give them option to back up locally and cloud. That is completely to you. Automatic agent updates. So you don't need to manage anything. The agents of all your end customer's environment will be updated automatically. If you want, if an end customer says that he does not want the agents to be updated automatically, you can always disable this. So that control is, what I'm trying to prove here is that there are a lot of control which is given to a service provider while managing this application and the solution for the end customer. There are a lot of things which is in your hand, and as per the requirement, you can always select the option and make the changes for the end customer. Simplified group management. You can always define your groups. So now only two types of groups. The partner group replaces the distributor. So initially it was, the solution was distributor, partner, and end customer. Now they have removed the distributor. Now you have only service provider and reseller. So your partner name is there. If you're a partner, then the partner name and the end customer name. You can directly select the end customer name by providing the solution, all the details, and the end user will get the notification about it, and he can log in to the console. And provide users report. So this is for the storage report. Now, initially the problem was confusing pricing information. Initially the report, they have made a few changes in that. The report used to take a long time. It was too generic, not properly addressed. It was not providing the detailed information which an end customer or a service provider require. Now we have a detailed report. Pricing are removed on pricing. So pricing has been removed now. Now you can define the pricing while creating the report, and it will depend on your requirement. So you can customize the reporting according to your requirement, and you can always change the time to generate the report. The report can be generated monthly, weekly, or you can run a custom report as well. You can run the customer and partner report, all customer and partner report, all customer and partner reports, including account details. So you can select the option and run the report. Sorry, this question. The question is, what is an Azure and AWS agent? Are these specific agent for machine to back up to Azure or AWS? Yes. So when you have a server running on Microsoft Azure or Amazon Cloud, in order to perform the backup of those, you need to install the agent which you install on the physical machine. Remote agent, you need to install that agent in order to perform the backup as a physical server. Because the cloud solution provider and Amazon does not provide the functionality to access the machine as a virtual machine. So you need to install the agent and perform the backup. Second question, restore can be performed by a service provider from the management, or it requires customer credential? Yes, customer credential is required. The reason is because it's customer's data, but in this there are two solutions. One is that being a service provider, you can always manage end customer backup and solutions. So with their credential, you can back up their environment or team, and you can for the service. are providing by backing their data. And whenever you want to recover the data, you can always provide recovering the data. Yes, but to answer your question, their credential is required. Okay, this is how the end user agreement will look like. So when a customer will log in, he will always see the end user agreement, and he'll have to agree to that in order to perform the backup and install agent and manage the entire solution. You can always white label this with your company name. You can change the URL. You can customize the URL. You can rebrand the entire solution by your company name. You can do that. For customer, application aware backup for physical machines. So you just need to install the agent and define what application is installed. The machine will take care of the application backup. As you can see on the screen, it can backup SQL Server, Exchange, Active Directory. It will backup all these with just one installation. The application, the agent itself is aware what needs application is installed. You just need to enable that. The plugins are already, the binaries are already given to the agent. You just need to install the application. That's it. And for one more thing, for SQL, it's a single pass backup, which means that you perform one backup of the entire machine, but it will allow you to recover three kind of different recovery. One, second, you can recover files and okay, there's one more question. If a customer chooses to change MSP, will he install agent and data move with him? If a customer chooses to change, I'm sorry, can you rephrase the question again? All right, granular recovery of Exchange data for both Office 365 and on-premises solution. This is how it will look like. An end customer can always log in, go to the inbox, outbox, sent item, and usually recover that. You can do that. This is how the Office 365 email backup will look like. You will see all the options. The creator was a very good fan of Game of Thrones. That's where you can see the name of Game of Thrones characters. SharePoint Granular Recovery. With the SharePoint Explorer tool utility, you can always recover the individual items. You can see in the screen that you can cover the entire site, list of item, attachment, documents, with version, and files and folders, everything can be recovered with this. Okay, virtualization, what all VM flash backup, which we have already discussed, that with the VM flash backup, you can always recover the incremental data, which hardly takes a couple of minutes to recover the machine. All right, we'll proceed further. VMware ESXi host backup and recovery. All right, with this solution, you can back up your ESX host as well, and as we discussed initially, you can recover to a dissimilar hardware as well. So in case if your ESX host goes down and you've got a new host, you can always recover that to a dissimilar hardware. You can always do that. So it will back up the entire configuration of your ESX host with whatever network configuration and storage configuration there, you can recover that to a dissimilar hardware. VM replication is provided by VMware. You can always perform the replication of VMware from one site to another site. Maintain replication of important VM. So whenever you have important VM, you can always keep a replica of that. Whenever the changes happen, frequently it will keep on sending the data from one site to another site, and make sure that the other side is up to date as the primary site. In case if you want to test it, you can always revert, you can perform the test, you can fail back and fail over. It used WAN optimization. It means that always it sends the changed data with encryption and compression. You can always the replicas, so you can always perform a full backup initially and then initiate the incremental restore by providing the pre-seed, which is the initial seeding. So next time over the WAN, it will always do the incremental optimization and replication. About that, when problems, so the problems for replicating data is true and slow and unreliable. That is also true. Solution: transfer only real difference between source VM and replica VM. So it will keep on tracking what is the changes and only transfer the changes. When optimizing work automatically, when Acronis Backup virtual appliance is deployed on the target ESX host. So in Acronis is the one of them is installing the virtual appliance on the ESX host, which will take care of the backup of all the virtual machines present on that single ESX host. And if you have multiple, take care of that as well. Again, the replica performing initial full replication over slow network like WAN and LAN takes too much time. Solution: pre-seed the copy. So provide initial seeding. If you have a two-side, you can always perform the initial seeding to the cloud as well as to the another side. And next time onward, as I mentioned, that it always run the incremental backup. You can perform the incremental backup, which will only the backup the changes. Agentless file recovery directly into VM. So with VM, you don't need, it's an agentless backup. You don't need to install any agent on the virtual machines. It will take care of the entire machine and files and folder. So you can recover the entire machine as well as you can recover files and folders. Additional improvement for customers: audit amount for data sent to the cloud. So now customer can monitor and track how much data he's sending to the cloud. He can always view that with each and every job. Improve add resources. Now this is how you can install the agents. You can see that it's pretty simple. If it's a Windows workstation, you can go and select Windows workstation. If it's a Mac, you can go and select Mac. It will download the agent and install the agent on the machine. Windows Server, Linux Server. If it's a mobile devices, just select the mobile devices and it will install the agent on that and configure it. Same for the VMware and Hyper-V. You need to download and it will take care of that. NFS folder as destination. Now customer can perform a backup to an NFS folder as well on premises if he wants to. So he can backup locally to a local folder, attach it, which is attached to the server, or if it's an NFS folder, he can backup to NFS folder as well. Account language for UI and email notification. Customer can on the fly change the language. He can always change the language on the fly. And he can set the email notification as well. So in case if the backup fails or if he gets any alert, he will be notified about the issue to fix that. Backup, end customer and the admin recovery it's pretty extensive and fast. It is and to the security, just mention for customer. You can control the login. Their laptops and servers IP address, and they will only be able to log in with their specific IP addresses. We'll discuss about the pricing. If we talk about the pricing, with the hybrid cloud, the minimum commitment is 250 GB, in which you get 4 terabyte of cloud storage. The pricing per GB is 0.06. However, I will let the sales team to talk about this later on. They'll explain more in detail about the pricing and the solution, how the solution works.
Sorry, everyone. If you could just quickly confirm if you were able to hear Akhil. All right, great. Thank you.
So you have different categories in this. The minimum commitment is $250, and you have $1,000, then $2,000, and $4,000. I will let the sales team handle about it. All right, we'll discuss about technically more. So as we already have few questions, let's answer those questions. Okay, the question was, can customer move between service providers for this service without losing his backup and data? A customer can, but his data will be stored as per the access can be provided through the service provider. So to answer more in detail, as a service provider, you have full control on the end customer. All right. If, for an example, if you have performed the backup, if a customer has performed the backup to Azure storage, and after 6 months, a customer says that he does not want to continue the business with you, or he might be moving to another service provider, or XYZ reasons. Okay, you can always charge for the solution. You can provide all his data. You can recover all the data, and because it's your storage, you're paying for the storage, so you can always ask, and for the charges to recover his data, you can provide all the data by restoring it to disk, or if he has a storage capacity where he can recover the data, you can always give that, and you can end the agreement with him. Yes, you can do that. Second question, is there a data sheet detailing comparison with VCSP solution? All right, yes, we'll share the comparison. However, the main point is that the Veeam provides, first of all, Veeam is only for the virtualization and not for physical. Second, it provides an appliance machine to be located on the end customer office. Now that machine is connected to the Veeam cloud. Okay. Now the drawback is, if the end customer disconnect the appliance machine from the internet, he can always perform the backup locally unlimited. Okay, and as a service provider, you does not have the control over the end customer. With this solution, you have the control. If a customer is trying to be smart, you can always disable his account, and he will not be able to log in and perform the backup. So he'll always have to come to you and ask for the permission to perform the backup locally or to the cloud. So you have the entire control over the customer. The customer cannot run from you. Another question. If the customer chooses to change MSP, will he install the agent and data move in with him? No, okay, we have already answered this. Will there be an additional cost for storage? Yes, for Azure storage, yes, there is an additional cost, which the sales team will explain about it, and how you can pitch it to the end customer, and everything in detail they will explain about it. What is the bandwidth cost? What will be the bandwidth cost? Okay, we'll discuss about that. What if the customer did not? Okay, I'm sorry. What if the customer did only local backup, moving to another service provider? Will means he needs to reinstall the agent and run new backup schedules. No, but he will not be able to recover the data. The reason is because you have the control, you have the access of the entire solution. So if you disable his account, he will not be able to perform the backup and perform the recovery. Please advise if there is a coming session to explain it practically. Yes, we have a next session where we will go into the live demo where we'll help you to we'll show you how to configure the backup solution and the storage on the Azure. It can be implemented. Okay, another question. It can be implemented on customer premises, not on cloud, and can take backup for Hyper-V and VMware Azure too. Yes. It means the cost to transfer data over the internet to Azure.
What he means, I guess, is he's trying to ask what's the cost to internet to Azure. All right, I guess we can get back to you personally on that question, and I'm sure Akhil will help you on that aspect.
Yeah.
And before we close the session, there are two more poll questions we need to run. And here goes. What backup solution do you sell? We have Veeam, Symantec, Commvault, and Acronis. Wow. As of now, 75% Acronis, 25% Veeam. Great. All right, moving forward to the next one. Here are the results for the previous poll. And the last one we have, does your backup application provide cloud solution? Great. We have 70 to 80% saying yes, and the other as no. Perfect. And here goes the result for this poll. Perfect. So I believe we had a very interesting session. And if there are any other questions, you can always get in touch with Akhil and he'll be here to support you. And thank you, Akhil, for joining us for the session. And thank you, everyone, for taking and joining us for the session as well. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Share your contact number.